What's going on, guys? Tony and Jill here from Roll with the Bowlins. If this is your first time checking us out, thanks for coming by. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you like the videos that we're doing, please subscribe and consider hitting that bell for next time we upload the idiocracy called Rolling with the Bowlins. So today we want to talk about the realities of full-time RV life. The real realities. Sure, that sounded dramatic enough for you? Anyway, so let's get started, Miss Jill. What are we going to talk about with them? About the cold realities. I'm going to
put my glasses on so I can see.
Okay, yeah. So this is the other thing, cold realities of when you start getting older, you can't see. You're running into doors, you know, other things. You trip over your own feet. I don't know.
I don't run into doors. You may. But, number one, we thought we'd travel more.
Yeah. Now, if you're not, you know, employed online, and you actually have to work outside of the RV, sometimes you don't get to travel as much as you want because your job is going to keep you there in an area a lot longer. A little bit of the best of both worlds, because we can travel a little bit more because Miss Jill does work online and I have to work outside. So sometimes my job keeps us in an area a lot longer. But like on travel days, as long as we've got a good internet connection and we got electric for her, she can work and we can travel. Now, we tend to not to bust our butt too much in travel, just for the simple fact is, the time Miss Jill gets done with her job during the day, she's tired. She don't want to sit in the vehicle all day, and I'm tired from sitting around watching her peck at the keyboard. So a lot of the reality is, you know, we didn't get to travel as much. Now, originally when we went full-time, we were supposed to travel a lot more. But I also worked for a different employer at that time, and that's kind of how we were actually planning on. And when we first started these videos, we were all over the globe. We were traveling so much that we actually couldn't even have time to think about doing a YouTube video, or even think about slowing down to smell the roses or go out and explore anything, because we were bam, bam, East Coast, West Coast, up north, up south, well, down south. See, exactly. That's kind of crazy what was going on, and literally we had to stop every once in a while just in a rest area just to kind of touch base with you guys, because that's how much we were running. I mean, didn't have time to even think about making a YouTube video. Now that I have a different employer, yeah, we've slowed down a lot as far as traveling, because my jobs take a little bit longer in an area. Now, sometimes I can be in an area for a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, then we can bounce out and go on. But that's one of the other realities if you don't work online and you actually have to work in a specific area, whether you might be working some kind of construction work. There's a lot of jobs like that for people to do out here. You're going to be in an area for a little bit longer. And so that does kind of suck. A lot of people think that, you know, oh, I'm going to go live full-time RV. I'm constantly going to be traveling. Well, that's fine and dandy if you have an online job that will allow you to do that. But a lot of people who are not retirement age and they still have to work like us, one person may work out of the home, so that will kind of keep you on. So we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But anyways, number two, Miss Jill. Her routines. That's what we're looking for, right? Routine?
Routines. Yep. Yeah. I find that if you have a routine, it's hard to stick to it, especially from site to site, because everything changes. Your house might not change and the things that you need to get done, but the places outside change, you know, where you go, how you get there.
Like grocery stores, for instance, you know, that's one thing that we kind of took for granted. Now, we don't mind going to Walmart for certain things, but there's certain things at Walmart that we won't eat, like ground beef. We won't eat that from Walmart. So we have to try to find a nice place local to get ground beef. And we've been lucky so far. We found places other than Walmart to actually get us our ground beef and stuff like that. Now, that's just our personal preference. Somebody might be happy with Walmart's ground beef. Personally, I think it tastes funny. Especially if it's not. I'm just weird, I guess. I like my, you know, meat ground in house where I can actually see the butcher back there actually doing what he's supposed to do. Anyways, I know that's just me. But like she said, well, you gotta get it in a routine where you've been in your stick and brick of, you know, where everything's at in that local grocery store. Then you go on a scavenger hunt every time you get to a new area trying to find a store. Then when you find a store, it's trying to find some sort of rhythm and rhyme of the way they got the store laid out. That is enough to make you want to just scream sometimes, let me tell you.
Not all Walmarts are set up the same.
Yeah, you would think they were, but they're not. And like I said, a lot of times you go to some of the smaller stores, and you really are taken back with the prices at the smaller stores as well.
Yeah. Things that from where you're from are one price, and they're so much higher, maybe.
Or so much lower. So I mean,
right.
it's a double, double side there. I mean, it can either
right.
be higher or lower. So that's another reality of it. Is it can be very stressful going to a new store. Trying to get new pharmacy. If you're on the road, and you have to take medicine. Trying to find a pharmacy to take care of your prescriptions, and it's just it can be a pain in the butt as far as that's a reality. Not really a pain in the butt, but what you're used to being in the stick and brick is not necessarily always going to be the same way it is.
If you can't handle change.
RV life is going to be very stressful.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, you do still kind of have a routine. You got to get up and you got to do this kind of stuff. So maybe we misspoke about the routine, but it's not going to be just as routine as I'm going down here to the local store that you've been to 500 times in your, in the last 6 months. You're going to a new place and you're trying to figure it out.
So it could be a positive, it could be a negative.
Yeah.
I mean, I like going to new places, but
it's also stressful. But she doesn't like looking for stuff in the store, let me tell you.
Right.
Because somebody's direction of what this is, and that's the other thing, is you're looking for one thing. They don't call it that in the other part of the world. They call it something completely different.
Oh yeah, we call it popping.
Yeah, pop. That's an easy one to go with, pop and soda. I mean, that's common knowledge. If you say pop and they just kind of look at you with a bewildered look on their face, you say soda. But anyway, that's some of the things. That's reality of full-time RV travel. Is everything's not going to be the same as it was while you were in a stick and brick when you do your little petty thing like grocery shopping. And laundromats. The demographic of the people in the laundromats is so funny. The level of people in the laundromats is funny. I mean, not really, I guess, a level, but it's like everywhere you go, even if you're in the same area, you just go to like the other side of town and go to a different laundromat because it wasn't as crowded as the other one. The culture in that particular laundromat is completely different than it was 4 blocks over. So that's the other things of full-time RV life. That's the reality is you got to have clean underwear, and if you don't have a washer and dryer in your rig, you got to go to the laundromat. So if you don't play well with others and don't like cleaning out the lint trap after you get done in a public place, RVing is not going to be that fun. Well, at least laundry day is not. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay, I can't read it. Let's try it again. Hold on. We made notes so we remember. Not all RVers are nice.
That's another thing is, when you're first out, RVing, you're out, the weekend where you're camping and you're doing this like that. You find a lot of people in the campgrounds. You all have a similar interest, and everybody's pretty well, nice, and you get along with everybody in the RV community. Now, some of the realities of that is some RVers are not that nice. I mean, you can be pleasant as you want to them. They're not going to have it. They're just a very unpleasant person. I think they were probably a very unpleasant person even when they were in a stick and brick.
Well, some people, I believe, RV, not all, and they do it because they want to be by themselves.
Yeah, so you'll have that, which nothing against them.
Nothing wrong with that. Some days I don't blame them. And then you have the older generation that
they're kind of hit and miss. It's kind of weird to read them sometimes. Sometimes they're the sweetest people in the world, and sometimes they're the most angry people in the world.
Yeah, and we say that because right now we're in a 55 and over park.
We're invading on their territory, so they don't like young people bad. Young people.
And it's like life. You have the nice ones, and you have people that aren't so nice.
Yeah. But that's just the way it is. And the other thing that we've come, the reality of traveling with a pet, sometimes that can be kind of a pain for some people. Now us, we have our dog, we love our dog, and our dog's going to go anywhere we go. And if you don't like the dog, then I don't really care. But, you will find places that they're just absolutely not having it. No pet whatsoever. And, a lot of...
they have breed restrictions.
Or breed restrictions and stuff like that.
We already knew that. We went into RVing knowing that there was going to be breed restrictions. And
some places, Senor Pucci wasn't allowed to go. So guess what? Those just got 86 off our list of places to visit. Right. Now, like I said, some people, they're just not overly friendly towards you. If they see that you have a pet, they think you're... I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but some people just, they're not that kind to our four-legged friends that we all have.
I mean, I've come across people that are afraid of big dogs, and that's perfectly fine. I understand.
Exactly.
But I always love to meet the people that are afraid of them, but yet are willing to let Diesel come up to them and they pet them, and it helps break that that fear just a little tiny bit, because Diesel's such a loving dog, and
he is a sweet dog, and we're very fortunate to have a very sweet dog like that. That will let strangers pet him and doesn't be aggressive whatsoever. I mean, and that's great. Well, the only time that dog's gonna get aggressive is if you mess with either Jill or myself. If you come at us in a threatening manner, then that dog was not going to be your friend. But the dog loves everybody. But and everybody thinks their dog is a sweet dog and a sweet person dog. But sometimes they may be sweet to your family. They're not always sweet to everybody else. So you kind of got to take that there people are going to be standoffish with a pet, and you just have to assure them and show them that your dog is friendly. But in some places, like if you have a bigger dog and they got small dogs, they just want you to go far away. They will literally pick up their little dogs and run with their little dogs, which I think is freaking hilarious. But, because our dog's the kind of dog, because he tries to get down on their level, our dog will sink down and try to make himself as small as possible so that little dog will play with him.
Yeah. And people think he's mean because he does that, but he just wants to play. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Big, tall, skinny, short.
He doesn't care.
Old, young. Yeah. They're all the same to him.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's another reality is, every place you go is not going to be pet friendly. And, you have to either be okay with that, or you'll have to find, better accommodations for yourself and your furry friend. But, we've also been, places that are, purely, they encourage you to have a pet. And those places are great. Except for when you have the people who won't pick up after their own pet. Right. So therefore, I think some of those kind of people who don't pick up after their own pet kind of ruin it for the rest of us in places, because then they don't want it pet friendly because you didn't pick up your dog's poop. Pick it up.
And there's people that leave their dogs off leash, which is fine in most. If you're out.
If you're outside of a park and you're on BLM land or something like that, you want to let your dog run free, then that's totally okay. But when you're in a park or an RV, campground or something like that, respect the rules. Keep your pet on a leash. One, so your pet doesn't get hurt, and two, so your pet doesn't absolutely scratch somebody and then they think your dog attacked them, and then you have to have your pet put down over that. It's not worth it.
The one area that when we were in Tulsa, there was a lady that had 3 dogs, and every time anybody would walk by, they would come running out.
And quite aggressively at that.
And they actually scared an older woman, and I thought she was going to have a heart attack. So...
Yeah, the lady actually had to come back and take extra heart medication. That's how... I mean, and these dogs were good-sized dogs.
Yeah, they may have been the sweetest dogs. I don't know, but they come out aggressive, and they're a pack. When you have 3 dogs as a pack. And I felt bad. Because, we had to say something to the RV park because of it.
Well, we didn't say something. Somebody else did.
I kind of did.
Anyway, so, just be respectful of that. And, that's one of the other realities. And another reality that we're going to talk about that maybe a lot of people do not discuss is anxiety. Right. Now, a lot of people who choose the RV life, it's kind of interesting to find out that they want to live full-time RV and travel because they do have anxiety. Because, anxiety is a thing that is very tough for some people to get over. I mean, it's not just, oh, get over, you're okay. This is something that can really keep a lot of people trapped up in home and not really want to do anything. Now, Miss Jill has anxiety. And this has actually been very good for her, being a full-time RVer. Because it does allow her to, I shouldn't even tell you. Let her explain it to you, because it helps her get out and meet people.
Yeah. Well, I've always had issues, and I've always forced myself. Not everybody's able to force themselves. I mean, that's why they created medication. So, but I do have anxiety about going out in the public. I have problems with telephones. I'm just crazy, but that's okay.
You're not crazy. It's just, it's something that troubles you. It's fine. You're not crazy if you have something that you're uncomfortable with. Don't. She's just kidding around. I mean, you have.
I wouldn't call anyone else that. Me, because of the telephone thing. Not everybody has that anxiety. I do. the good thing is when you live in a small space, it's twofold. You can either force yourself out or become a recluse and stay inside. And not only is the walls closer, so is everything else. So if you have anxiety and you live in a small space, you're going to feel it. But it also forces you out. And so does the dog. That was another positive about our dog, is I do have to get out 2 or 3 times a day to take him for a walk. So I never get complacent of being inside. So
yeah, so like I said, you know, the other thing is it probably helps Miss Jill that I, you know, am not full of anxiety whatsoever. I have no problem talking to anybody usually, so I don't get nervous about things like that. So I'm sure that probably helps a little bit, you know, with her getting out more.
He's my buffer.
Yeah, there you go. I'm her buffer. Plus, if somebody gives her any crap, I'll take care of it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's more of a group type anxiety, but it does help.
Yeah, and like I said, anxiety is one of those things, and you know, I've known several people over the years that has anxiety, and it's a very rough thing for them. You know, I guess if you know you've never lived with anybody or had associated with anyone who has a fear of anxiety, you know, who can't get over that, it's not just something that you can just turn off and then make yourself do it. It's not going to be, and it's very rough for people with anxiety to even consider the simplest task of going out and saying hello to a stranger. That's something that they just literally cannot force themselves to do.
Or even go out of their own home, and that's sad.
That comfort zone just will not let them. I mean, it's just embedded into their system. It's almost like having a heart attack. It's almost like, you know, feeling the fear of your life that someone is going to murder you or kill you because you can't. You're that scared. And, you know, it's something that people with anxiety, they go through all this on a daily basis. I'm very, very happy that my wife here can come out, and RV life will help her a little bit, kind of get out of her shell, not really a shell, but help her with her anxiety. And it's actually getting her out a little bit more to where she's actually visiting with more people, and she's met a lot of new friends out here while we've been doing this, and friends that was going to be, you know, lifelong friends. How I feel about it.
And it's all a process too. I don't expect anyone with anxiety to just go from, you know, not going out and doing stuff to going out and doing stuff every day. There's still plenty of stuff that I want to do. Mm-hmm. I have yet to go out kayaking by myself because it's
because we got an inflatable kayak, and she thinks my big butt's gonna go get an inflatable kayak and swim back. I'm good.
But there's things like that I want to do, and I'm going to do them. It's just a process.
It's baby steps. You got to lead up to it. I mean, it's just like your first time when you decided to walk when you were a baby. I think I can make it. Well, hold on a minute. But you know, it's a fear.
Take off running though. So I mean,
yeah, it's a fear that you have to work yourself up to. Yeah. You know, and if you are with someone who has a little of an anxiety issue, don't force them. They're going to do it in their own time. I mean, be, I guess, proactive and try to encourage them, but don't be mean about it if they can't do it. If they can't do it, just understand, be patient, and the base thing is be understanding of people that have anxiety. I mean, now, you know, days when we first leading up to us leaving full time, Miss Jill was a wreck. She was a wreck about, we're leaving our home. We are leaving what we know as life. That what we've been embedded in us all of our entire life growing up, that you got to have a house, I got to have a car, kids, and everything's got to be here. And now we are the epitome of fly by the seat of your pants.
I still have anxiety about it all, but...
And I know the days that Miss Jill does have the anxiety about decisions we make, and sometimes we make the decisions on the fly, and she's not comfortable with that decision whatsoever. But we try to make the decision and try to make it as smooth as we can for Miss Jill. And, you know, we try. It sometimes doesn't always work out that way. But, you know, leading up to going to a new park, you know, I notice that she might not say she's having anxiety, but I can look at Miss Jill and tell she's having anxiety about going to the new place. Or she's having more anxiety about going into this particular place and getting this or getting that. Like if I'm driving and she needs to go into the store, she doesn't want to do this in a strange place. And I understand that. Sometimes... unfortunately, she does put on her big girl panties and go ahead and do it.
Well, my boots.
And she does go on into place. You know, she's not happy about it, but the anxiety of driving the dually, I think, probably outweighs the walk into the store real quick and not make eye contact and grab what we had to grab and go. But, you know, so you definitely have anxiety about those type of things. Anxiety of, like, you know, when you start a new job.
I think everybody has a form of it.
Yeah, some people deal with it better. There's a lot of people that we've come across, even though they're full-time RVers, they still have an anxiety of hooking up their camper. They still have an anxiety about trying to figure out a problem. And they're, total anxiety about, you know, hauling a rig down the road. They're completely scared to death of it. And, you know, I commend them for trying to get over that fear. But I will say this, if you have a fear of pulling your rig, it's probably not the rig for you. Because if you're that fearful of moving it, you could actually cause more of an issue for yourself than just being more comfortable and relaxed with your equipment. Biggest thing is learn your equipment. Right. That way you know when something's not right. That way you're not stressing yourself to death and white knuckling, because white knuckling is not ever a good thing.
With anxiety, knowledge, I think, helps. Knowing, my son also has anxiety, and I found that as long as, when he was growing up, as long as I told him exactly what was going to happen, he was a lot better about it. And I do the same thing. If I know I'm going to have anxiety about a certain thing, I educate myself. You know, if I have to drive to the store by myself and go to the store, I'm going to know exactly where that store is. And I have my phone. Sometimes, you know, occupying your mind while you're doing something help. I mean, don't talk on the phone while you're driving, but when you get to the store, talking to somebody sometimes helps. But yeah, knowledge is the way to go.
Yeah, and it kind of helps soothe, you know. So like I said, you know, that's realities for RV life that we've come across. I mean, there's other cool realities to RV life, you know. But we don't, you know, want you guys think RV life is just, oh my God, it's crazy. But, you know, the reality of it is, if you're not retired, you know, you don't have an income online, that you're going to work outside your rig. So your expectation of possibly traveling, you know, constantly, unless you're independently wealthy and you still got to make a living, you're going to spend a little bit more time in other places. And if you have anxiety, it does make it a little bit more challenging to be a full-time RVer.
Right.
And, you know, it's RV life is, to us, we really enjoy it. And I really enjoy seeing the change in Miss Jill as far as her anxiety about, you know, meeting new people. You know, that difference is great for us to, you know, finally get some stride there, you know, helping her a little bit more with her anxiety. And, you know, who can be depressed when you're traveling around and seeing beautiful things? And, you know, but
you'd be surprised.
But, yeah, I mean, it happens, but
yeah,
you know, it's worked out well for us. We absolutely enjoy RV life, but it does have its stressful points. And, you know, like I said, traveling with anxiety it's challenging for those who have it.
But you're very capable of it.
Exactly.
So if you have anxiety,
yes,
do it. I mean,
take small steps. Take small steps, but it's something that you can try to overcome. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, guys, that's what we have for you today. We want to say thanks for watching. Continue to come back and see us and visit and hang out. If you haven't subscribed, hit the button. If nothing else, tune in for a laugh. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Adios.
Bye, con Dios.